everybody, welcome to my Cheap Trick channel. This is my introduction video. I'm going to be reviewing all the albums, but I just want to do a little introduction video for my channel just to let you know my history with Cheap Trick, and it is a fluke how I got into this band. It is it's really strange. It happened back in it was either 77 or 78. A friend of mine who introduced me to Kiss, and I wasn't really into music around those years. I was a big movie fan. That's all. I just loved Rocky and Jaws and Slapshot and Star Wars and stuff like that. That was my main love. And one day I was at my friend's house and he played me "I Want You" by Kiss, and I was like, ooh, I like that, you know. And I ended up buying double platinum. Then I wanted to get some more Kiss stuff, but you know, I was a kid and I was broke. So he was part of this club called Columbia House, and I know a lot of you old fucks remember Columbia House. Columbia House was this club where you'd pay 1 penny and you'd get 10 CDs. I mean, 10 CDs, listen to me. This is before CDs. You'd get either 10 vinyls or 10 cassettes or 10 8-tracks. So if you're part of the club and you get somebody else to join, you get a couple free things, or maybe one free album. I forgot how it was. So my buddy, the guy that introduced me to Kiss, he said, hey man, you want to get some more Kiss albums, man? Join Columbia House. So I said, okay. And it was 11, I could buy 11 cassettes. Back then look, I hate cassettes. To my life, I just don't like cassettes, those squeaky little bastards. They just don't last, but I didn't know back then. So I had them get me 10 cassettes so I could be part of Columbia House. The Columbia House Club. And I remember getting some Kiss stuff, some ELO, and there was one left and I didn't know what to get, and he just randomly got me Cheap Trick in color, right? I didn't know who this band was or nothing, so I got the cassette, I looked at it, and it's, you know, as you know, it's a picture of Robin Zander and Tom Peterson on a motorcycle, and just looking at it, I thought, this shit sounds like it may be like the Beach Boys or some shit. I don't think I'll like this. So I never bothered to listen to it, and then a friend of mine came by, and they were giving, I don't know, some concert on the radio, and I was gonna record it, so I grabbed the Cheap Trick cassette. And you know, the cassettes had those little holes in the top, you just fill it with a little paper and you can record over it. So I grabbed the Cheap Trick cassette, put a little paper in it, put it in there to record over it. And my friend said, have you even listened to that? I was like, no. And he said, let's hear what it sounds like. I said, okay. So we put it on, and the first thing I hear is, hello there. And that, and I was like, me and my friend just looked at each other going, whoa. Wow, this is really good. And that was the moment I was like, wow, this band is awesome. So I fell in love with Cheap Trick. This was prior to Live at Budokan. This had to be like 78. So then that's the only Cheap, and I would wear that cassette out, and then it started squeaking. It was no good no more. And I bought the vinyl, but before I even bought the vinyl, my same friend that got me in Columbia House, his older brother had a import version of Live at Budokan, and which had Hello There and Big Eyes and Come On, Come On, I Want You to Want Me. You know, I had songs that were on there, and I remember hearing that. And this was before it was released in the United States. And God, I loved that album, but I couldn't get it. It was an import. It was too much money. Till it was eventually released, and then bam. So I'm recording this in 2018, my very first concert. And I remember the day, the date, the year, and everything. May 18th, 1979, which means next year will be the 40th anniversary I saw my first concert. And my first concert was Cheap Trick, and they were promoting at Budokan. And I went with my dad to the Miami Highlight opening band. Opening act was a band called the Rockets. Anybody out there remember the Rockets? They had a cool cover of Oh Well by Fleetwood Mac and Turn Up the Radio. I ended up buying that album too. It was alright. It wasn't that great. It was no Cheap Trick, but my dad took me to the show, and here I am. I'm a mega Cheap Trick fan. By this time, I already had Heaven Tonight. I think I had the first album. Obviously, I had In Color, and I had that Budokan, because that Budokan was so popular as an import that they domestically released it. So I went to that show, and man, I'll never forget them opening with, and we were pretty close. Me and my dad were pretty close. Them opening with Hello There, and Rick had these little steps on the side of the stage, and he was doing the solo there. It's engraved in my brain, that vision of that. And my dad's a very conservative guy. He's not into rock, you know, but you know, he's Cuban descent, so he doesn't, you know, he just likes Latin music. And it was a total culture shock. And I'll never forget walking in that concert going, wow, I'm in a rock concert, you know. I've seen this so much on Don Kirshner's rock concert, Midnight Special and stuff, and now I'm actually in a concert. So we're sitting waiting for, I don't know if it was after the Rockets, before the Rockets, but there was these two teenage kids sitting next to us smoking weed. And my dad, being Cuban, didn't really like the weed smoking going around his son. So what my dad did was he grabbed a cigar, lit it up, and blew it in their face. And my dad's kind of like a stocky pit bull type looking dude, you know? You don't want to fuck with him. And I remember the kids like walked away. So, and I gotta say, since 1979 all the way to now, 2018, I have only missed one Cheap Trick show this whole time. And the only reason I missed it was because they were opening for Poison. And I think Def Leppard, Poison, Cheap Trick, I was like, I'm not gonna see that shit. But I've seen Cheap Trick open for millions of bands. Like, I've seen them, you know, later years, like Woke Up in the Monster. I saw them opening for Meatloaf. I saw them opening for Journey and Hard. I saw them opening for, you name it. I've seen Cheap Trick open for millions of bands, and I've seen Cheap Trick open for, I mean, headline the smallest clubs that you can imagine. And to me, they are the most honest, sincere rock band ever. This is a band that reached heights and reached the bottom and never ever gave up. And as you will hear through my reviews, there's a lot of Cheap Trick albums I don't like at all. And I will give you my honest opinion. Anybody that follows my reviews with the Black Sabbath channel and the Kiss channel and my other VR Volt, no, I'll tell it as it is, man. So, you know, a lot of Kiss fans will get upset with me when I badmouth Crazy Nights. So I'm sure probably some Cheap Trick fans will be upset with me when I review some of those 80s albums that I'm really not a fan of. But I just wanted to make this introduction video, and I lost count how many times I've seen Cheap Trick. I know it has to be well over 80 times. That's right. And I love meeting bands. That's one of my, you know, I'm just such a fanboy. I hang out after shows just to meet bands. And I'm never nervous ever meeting any bands, but Robin Zander is the only person I ever was nervous to meet. And he was super cool, man. And I've never met him since. I only met him once, and I want to change that. I want to do the VIP Cheap Trick thing, you know, when it comes. I believe they are coming again. And that's another thing. Cheap Trick comes to South Florida at least 4 or 5 times a year. That's why I've seen him like 80 times since 1979 till now. Do the math. 5 times 39. You know, that's way over 80. You know, maybe I've seen them over 100 times. I don't know. I've seen them play on the beach for free. I live on Miami Beach. Beach. And I've seen them play the Hard Rock for free. I've seen so many Cheap Trick shows. And the thing I love also about Cheap Trick is that they always switch around the set list. It's never the same damn set list. They throw out the rare fucking gems, like, you know, I saw them play Looking Out for Number One once. I saw them play, Jesus. I can't think at the moment, but there's a lot of, they always, you know, there's songs that I haven't seen them play forever, and then all of a sudden they throw out like Borderline and stuff like that, and I'll go, whoa, you know, so there you go. That's my introduction. So I'm going to get totally fanboyed out and geekied out. So stay tuned. I'm going to go in chronological order. Did I pronounce that right? From the first album all the way to We're All Alright as I record this. Maybe by the time I'm up to We're Alright, they're going to have like 3-4 albums out after that with the rate they're going. Oh, actually, their last album was that Christmas album, which I'll review as well. So thank you so much. Please subscribe and leave comments below. Show your love for CheapTrick, and I'm going to get working on the first album review. Later, guys.